So here she is, the Aquarius reader. We decided through internal marketing and research that we did in the market that she was an expat Western woman. She was a young working mother and she was needing hyper-local content. She needed support in order to juggle family, career, relationships, and more importantly, herself. So how did we talk to her and how did we engage with her? We had an app, but at the end of the day, this woman was exhausted anyway, so talking to an app and putting a magazine on a tablet wasn't going to change her life. Digital, obviously a key talking point at the conference at the moment, but for us, when it came to our traffic numbers, we just didn't have them, and I had a website that wasn't even mobile friendly. It was a challenge that was going to take years of development and trying to get it right, and at the end of the day, I needed revenue and I needed it quick, so how could I do that? And so what did we do? We followed the global trend of niche content by launching Baby as a quarterly supplement. We realized that she was a target market out of all of our pillars. Parenting was the most successful, and there were no competitors in our market. And with 80,000 babies born in the UAE every year and an average spend of 25,000 dirhams before the baby had even turned up, I knew that this was a captive audience that we could take. So we launched in May 2014, and part of that launch strategy was our event strategy, the Aquarius Mummy Mornings. For us, we did them once a month in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, a very informal, simple setup. It was normally about 40 mums with babies under the age of 18 months, and there was normally themed content around it with experts or some kind of general talking point which we knew was relevant to our market. It was themed, there were experts, and it was hyper-local. Again, a really big theme for us. We would go into swimming pools, we would go into nurseries. Any client that wanted to talk to us, we were able to adapt our audience and the understanding that we had of our audience to what the client really required. And we were able to introduce their message to our audience. And it was only until we started doing these Aquarius Mummy Mornings that we realized just how loyal and engaged our audience was. So what were the benefits that we were able to share with our clients? More importantly, the most important thing, direct interaction. In the case of Just Kidding, a parenting retailer out here, they were launching the Bugaboo range. For those not involved in the pram purchasing, it's a high-end pram that costs quite a lot of money. So for them, they needed to be able to talk to a target end user and also introduce it to a key group of influencers and mummy bloggers. As Aquarius, we were able to bring those people into that client interaction scenario. Obviously from this, the benefits for them were data capture. They were able to get fantastic print and social content from them, and more importantly, get their message out into the market about their new launch. Measurable benefits. When you're asking a client to invest in you and your audience, you want to be able to show them what they're going to benefit from it. In the case of Speedo, we all know the swimsuits, but for them, they wanted to introduce their CSR campaign, the concept of the Speedo swim squads. There's a group here of teachers. Speedo sponsors them, and they do kids' swimming classes. For them, the benefits were clear. 25% of the mums there that morning signed up, including myself. And Miss Lisa comes to my house every Friday morning to teach my 2-year-old. Education. When a brand is launching in this market, they don't really know what they're doing. In the case of Tiny Feet, it was a UK-based nursery, and they needed our involvement in order to be able to help them drive traffic to their location. What we realized here is that, as we've talked about previously, your audience is king and you need to look after them. At the end of the day, I wasn't going to drag a whole bunch of mums to a nursery in the morning in order just to sell them the idea of signing up. It's bad enough trying to put makeup and brush your hair in the morning as a young mum, let alone have to go to an event. So here what we did is we involved our own editorial strategy. We had a photo studio, or the mums could have a picture taken with their kid. We had first aid demonstrations, and for them, the client benefits, not only did they get that traffic, but they were able to do pre-opening training for their staff, nothing like throwing 40 mums into a place that hasn't opened yet, and also they did get sign-ups as well for that new term. A general thing as well, market research. In the case of Dubai London Clinic, which is a health organisation here in Dubai, they wanted to create an informal setting for some testing and market survey work that they were doing. They were looking at the women's health market. They just wanted to make sure that they were ticking the right boxes. And by creating a mummy morning around that, we were able to introduce them to sort of their end users and ensure that the plans that they were making for their future strategies were on brand in terms of what women needed and what women were looking for in the market. And of course, there have been huge benefits when it comes to Aquarius magazine. We've been able to show our audience. I touched upon earlier about how we were confused as a brand. No one really knew who our reader was or what our audience was. In the case of the Christmas market, which we launched in December, we had over 1,500 people come to that, our end user, our reader. The data capture for sponsors was incredible. We were able to get revenue from our vendors, and we were also able to show off our relationship with GN Broadcasting. GN Publishing is part of, obviously, the Gulf News organization, and we also have our own radio stations. We had a live broadcast that day. Our brand benefits included selling subscriptions. We sold 168 in one day alone. Obviously, event revenue was there as well, and fantastic PR and marketing opportunities. It's changed the perception of the brand in the market. Aquarius has been here for 12 years, and as I said, no one really knew it, no one really kind of heard about it. And until we started doing these events and bringing in the readers, but also bringing in the industry, suddenly the perception of our brand has changed. In the case of Aquarius Beauty Heroes, this was an industry-led rather than reader-focused experience, and we did it in the presidential suite of the Marriott Marquis overlooking the Burj Khalifa. This is not what you expect from this brand, and the beauty industry were shocked. And from that, we worked with our sponsors, Paris Gallery, a huge beauty retailer here, and we were able to show off just exactly that sort of higher-end audience, and especially creating an event that isn't your traditional stand by a cocktail table in a nightclub and look at a mascara. This was actually able to show the brands and what they were doing. What's been incredible for us is obviously building a relationship. Events has allowed us to connect with our audience to ensure that we are doing the right things when it comes to brand extensions. We've seen an increase in our social media. Last year, with our events strategy, we had doubled our Facebook numbers. We've also seen an increase in our unique users and an increase in subscriptions and retail sales, because we have an incredible amount of brand ambassadors that are out in the market doing the work for us. You get one person come to an amazing event, they're going to tell 10 people where they've been. And most importantly, this has allowed us to create new revenue opportunities. In 2015, we doubled our revenue from events. This month, in February, 44% of our month's revenue has come from events. And we still have 18 days left to sell. In the traditional sense of a monthly magazine, you have your deadline. You've either got 100% or you don't. When we do events, we're able to still chase that elusive 100% because we can do events that will scale. So, okay, I've got 18 days. It's not like I'm going to try and get 1,000 people to something. But you know what? I could probably get 40 mums into a coffee morning in the next 2 weeks if I needed to. And this shows in the results. As you can see here, 2014, we had 1.5 from events, 1.5 from digital. Whilst digital has grown a little bit, the amazing story has come in events, with 17% in 2015. And as I said, we're looking to double that this year. So moving on to Inside Out. It was a different challenge with Inside Out. We were doing successfully from a print perspective because it is such a niche market, and it was sitting slightly in that luxury space. So whilst Aquarius needed to discover its niche through parenting, Inside Out already had the market dominance, but we needed to grow, and we really needed to consolidate our position. So the first operation that we did was Home of the Year, a fantastic concept by editor Sharon Parsons that not only allowed us to create fantastic content, we asked our readers to submit their homes, and believe me, there were some people that have some pretty interesting homes in this place. There was one that turned up with absolutely no furniture in it, but I think they probably wanted us to furnish it for them. But we were able, through that 6-week campaign, to not only start talking to our readers, know where they live, know what they shopped, but we were able to then turn that into an event as well and get a key sponsor on that. For the client, the benefits were editorial content, reader engagement. For us, it was data capture and an increase in digital and editorial content. The last 3 issues of Inside Out have featured a local home, which is unheard of in this market. And then finally, when it came to Inside Out, the more traditional of events that you would expect to come out of a brand. This was the red carpet, the ballroom, 350 of the UAE's interiors inside influencers, clients who were hoping to win a reader-voted award category. And for us, this was our kind of first venture into the large-scale situations. And what was amazing with this was for us, it was about consolidating our position in the market and creating an awards experience. But we were able to, on the night, show the market that we were credible, a big word that we've talked about at the conference. We were honest and we had credibility. Not only that, shown even more so when the lead sponsor doesn't win their category. And believe me, I'm still talking to that man. He's not very happy. But for us as well, we were able to show the power of the brand, and we were able to create a marketing campaign around that. As a publisher, there is nothing more satisfying than seeing the advert of your client, the winner of their category, showing your logo in one of your competitor titles. So creating your own events, how do you do that? And finally, here are the sort of top tips when it came to launching our own event strategy out of GN Publishing. For us, the key is understanding your audience and keeping them as your priority. They are the people that are doing the work for you. They are the people that your client wants to talk to. And unless you look after them and make sure they have an amazing experience and walk away as your brand ambassador, then there's no point in doing it. Listen to the client and understand their requirements. Don't try and put a square thing into a round hole or whichever way around you're supposed to do. Keep your own priority. Keep your brand guidelines. If a client wants you to invite 40 mums to their hardware store so that they can teach them how to drill a bit, it's not going to work. But what they can do is come to your hardware store and learn how to baby-proof their home in the case of a mummy morning. Set your brand event guidelines. When you're chasing 100%, your sales team are really excited, especially when they know they've still got time to sell. You need to give them the tools so they're not going out there selling the drill bit morning at the hardware store. They need to know what they can and can't sell and have the absolute support of their editorial and marketing teams around them. Be creative. Creativity is key. You need to be able to over-deliver on what you think what your client thinks that they're going to be doing, because at the end of the day, you want them to come back again. And that's what we've shown with Speedo. We now have a schedule and a calendar for 4 a year with them. Make sure it's worth it. If you need to outlay costs for yourself in order to make sure that it's a good event, believe me, a balloon artist is 2,000 dirhams. I know this now. It's part of my bottom line. And make sure that you get as much as you possibly can out of that event. You have that audience with you. They have come because they love you as the brand and they have a relationship with you. And make sure you get the most out of it. Can you capture their data? Can you sell them a subscription? What more can you do with them when it comes to content? And also, how can you support them? We have the most incredible women that come to our events in this area, and the lessons that we learn from them not only inspire us as a team, but they keep us going in terms of our brand extension strategies and our content strategies. There has never been a prouder moment than when I realized at one of our mummy mornings that there is one of our devoted readers who's currently fighting breast cancer. She came to our mummy morning for the first time after going through her chemotherapy treatment. And when she sat there, she came up to the editor and she said, "This is the first time that I have left the house, and I came here because of you." And for that, as a publisher, that's something that I will always be incredibly proud of. Thank you very much.